We had two suggestions for the topic of this week's video. Thank you both PLKRPLT and Zulligan's Vidius for suggesting Druid and Demon Hunter. And we are doing... Druid! Next week's video will be on Demon Hunter then. Choose a class for me to cover in the comments below and I'll make a video on it 2 weeks from now. Enjoy! Do you want to know more about a class? If yes, then you clicked on the right video. This is Class Overviews, a series where I go over one of the 10 Hearthstone classes, their playstyle, hero power, decks, staple legendaries, and if they're an overall good class to craft cards for in relation to the wild format specifically. I hope you can all get something out of this video whether you are a new or returning player. Now, let's begin with the mana cheating, combo starting, beast loving druid himself, Malfurion. Okay, Druid's not really the biggest fan of their hero power, and it's pretty obvious why. While Shaman gets a lot of crap for their totem hero power, Druid arguably has it worse. Shapeshift, 2 mana, give your hero +1 attack and +1 armor. This hero power seems like it would be strong on the surface. You get both damage and armor, just a jack of all trades. But the problem is that it doesn't really accomplish either goal well. The 1 armor has little to no impact in a game. You have to spend 10 mana just to get 5 armor, which costs a warrior literally 1 mana. And the fact that you just get 1 attack for your hero means you have to face tank all damage you deal to minions. Demon Hunter and Rogue both also have to face tank damage, but Rogue gets 2 hits for the same cost, and Demon Hunter's hero power only costs 1 mana. This is why almost every Druid deck replaces their hero powers. I'll go over this in a bit. Now, what is Druid's playstyle exactly? Well, there's only really combo decks and aggressive strategies at the moment. Let's just look at the current selection of competitive Druid decks, in no particular order. Starting with Malygos Druid. This is the background footage, by the way. The goal of this combo deck is to quickly ramp mana, draw through your deck, and get your combo pieces as soon as possible. Then you just play an Aviana Kun combo into 3 Malygos, a Kel'Thas, and any damage spells you have. Token Druid. This is the aggressive deck I was mentioning earlier. You flood the board really early on in the game and go as wide as possible. You then buff your minions with buff spells like Mark of the Lotus, and then you try to finish the game around turn 4 by using Savage Roar and Going Face. Those are honestly the only somewhat viable Druid decks at the moment, and even then they're only really tier 3 at best. I still want to mention these next 2 decks as they're a big part of the class identity but aren't really going to win you games past Diamond. Linecracker Druid. This is just an absolutely mad combo deck. You can gain around 1,000,000 armor when this combo is optimized. The combo revolves around you playing Linecracker, targeting it with the Beast spell to trigger its overkill effect as many times as you want. Then you just convert the Linecracker's attack into armor with Earthen Scales and just click the end turn button until your opponent concedes, because they're not getting past 1,000 armor. I'm a bit hesitant to include Jade Druid on this list, but it's been steadily gaining popularity and I've seen it a fair few times in Legend, so there has to say something about the deck. The whole strategy revolves around one card, Jade Idol. You just infinitely summon green men, with each one having +1/+1 more stats than the last, and you just win through sheerly pummeling your opponent to death. The game plan is not really complicated for Jade decks in general, and you can also go infinite because you can just keep shuffling Jade Idols back into your deck. Okay, let's go on to my favorite part of these videos. Staple class legendaries. These are all cards that are either extremely strong or extremely versatile. If they only see play in a specific deck, I'll make sure to mention that. Let's start with Aviana and Kun. These two always go together. Pretty much any combo revolves around Aviana and Kun as you play Aviana, innervate, and then you drop Kun. Now you're back at 10 mana and all your minions cost 1. They'll always just be Druid combo staples. Malfurion the Pestilent, the third best Death Knight in the game. Any slow Druid deck that runs this as you get a free turn with the Taunt Scarabs and a strictly better hero power. Instead of getting just 1 attack and 1 armor, you can choose whether you want attack or armor specifically, which is just much more helpful. Forbiddeness Floop. Any combo or value deck can get good use out of this guy. He can be a second copy of any strong Battlecry minion like a N'Zoth or the next card I'm going to go over. Ysera Unleashed. Mostly a Jade Druid card, but any controlled Druid deck loves value, and 7 free dragons is really strong, especially when they always seem to be high rolls. These next 3 legendaries aren't really necessary for anything, but can be pretty strong and fun as they do have good effects. Elise the Enlightened. Sometimes used in Linecracker Druid just to really BM as you can get the 1,000,000 armor and you get 2 more copies of Beast spell. She also does see play in a lot of really weird combo decks. Speaker Gidra is just decent in a token deck as just a really high pressure threat. Twig of the World Tree. This card is flaky as all hell, but every few months a deck pops up that can OTK on turns 4 using this card. It just has a really busted effect that can be abused now thanks to Sphere of Sapience. Twig just has ridiculous potential. As a whole, Druid isn't really the best class to craft cards for. They do play a decent variety of decks, spanning many different playstyles, mainly combo, but Druid is never really a top performer on ladder. Token Druid and Melee Druid are the only ladder viable decks at the moment, and they both have a lot of losing matchups. I would only recommend crafting a Druid deck if you play for fun. In casual, basically every Druid deck is a blast to play as you don't really face meta decks that much. But outside of that though, I can't really recommend investing in Druid as a class. But that's just my opinion, and in the end, as long as you have fun, that's what really matters. And with that, Zidud out.